Alright, we are recording, continuing in Mad Max. Key was originally provided by WB Games. How old is this game now? 2015, 2016? It's 5 or 6 years. Doing this a little bit earlier in the week because I'm gonna be gone when I would normally record this. But I do still have some news. Only 3 things, really. Though 2 of them are somewhat significant. The least significant of the 3. And there could be more.
It's a beauty, Satan.
Hey, I need.
Can you feel it? Huh? We're ready
Oh, that's
for the job.
Sorry, I was doing recordings in a different game. I don't think I can. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Ready as we'll ever be.
Yeah, I was doing recordings in a different game that was quieter, so I had to have the headphones turned up, and it's like a bit loud for this one. Yeah, of the 3 stories that I have noted,
Always do a death run. The crow does
the oh, anyway, it changed where it wanted the path going. Anyway, I really liked My Friend Pedro. It was a fun game. It's a fun. And apparently they are working on a mobile sequel. Well, a sequel to it. I think it's a sequel. But it's going to be mobile, which it's like, I don't do mobile games though. But it still is, something to pay attention to. I don't remember the name though. I really should check on that. Oh. Alright, let's get out. Do some fighting.
Right. I'll remain with the angel.
Okay. The other 2 stories are both ones that have the potential to develop further, and how they develop will be important. I think that's the best way to put it. So one of them, and this is one that right now I think we have the least amount of information on, is the announcement that Ubisoft is changing its development strategy for the Assassin's Creed series. Well, apparently before, it would typically go back and forth between Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Quebec. And they have decided to change that, where it will now be multi-studio. So it will be both of them working together for future games. And the next project is apparently called Assassin's Creed Infinity. Now, one thing about this, though, that does potentially pose a problem, because it's like, I'll be honest, I don't really care how they choose to develop those games. I mean, you want to do you want to have it be multi-studio like that, where it's now, 2 studios that work together. You want to have it, just bring in a 3rd studio. I really don't care. Just make sure the games are good. Yeah, make sure the game is good. I'm happy. I am that simple with it. But, it wasn't the clearest, it was kind of suggested. It wasn't the clearest in the, thing that Ubisoft did put up. And this is one of those things where it's like, well, we may get more clarification elsewhere. Apparently it was originally in a Bloomberg report that this Assassin's Creed Infinity will be a step away from the single game experience and will go to games as a service. So that's where you've got one game that you just continuously update, adding new content and such to it. It's like, yeah, that does worry me, because if you do that, then you risk the narrative. Because you can't have discrete narratives as easily. Then you need to potentially have a single weaker narrative that will go across the entire thing. But it's also, it's like one game that I've seen as an example of games as a service is GTA. Well, Grand Theft Auto 5, more specific.
Stink.
But it's, well, and GTA Online. It's like, okay, yes, that game is wildly successful. But it also, we haven't gotten new maps in it. Well, no, I guess one of the recent, okay.
Watch out! The gas tower!
I guess I have not installed GTA for quite a while. Kind of a big game. But it's just, it's mainly just the one city in there, and it's what's north of it. They did for one of the heists. That's it. That's what I was looking for. Bring in a new place that you can visit. And it's like, okay, that's neat and all, but it's. I think you only visited for the heist, so it's like I would be concerned then with Assassin's Creed that you would compromise your ability to explore. Like, I mean, Odyssey was big, and yeah, I can understand somebody saying that it was too big, but Valhalla, and I've only done the base game so far because when the third expansion is out, that's when I'll go back and play through the expansions and all that. That is my plan, at least. But Valhalla felt a good size. I think it was smaller than Odyssey. I could be wrong with that. I think it was. But they did a very good job populating. I would think that with a as a service design, you would lose the ability to so craft the world and so fill a large world. Which that does concern me, because it's like part of the fun to me is the exploration. So yeah, but it's also, this was described as being early in development, even by Ubisoft. So it could also mean then they would change. At the same time, though, if it were, I can see Assassin's Creed working as a basis for an MMO. I mean, I'll be honest, I could see that working for the franchise. And if they decided to have it as separate projects, then where there's that's right, those are the buried wreck. But if they wanted to go with like having an Assassin's Creed Online, essentially, to continue the reference to GTA Online, but continue development of the singular AAA games, I'd be fine with that. And they can have it. Come on, they can have them connected somehow. It's like that wouldn't bother me at all. It's just I'm worried about, if this is going to compromise the Assassin's Creed experience that we've had. First, in the beginning of the series, it kind of got poor in the middle, and then, with the new post-Origin design, has been good. So, yeah, that does worry me. But we'll just have to see. I mean, they're still working on Valhalla. Don't forget that they're still doing more DLC. It's like for the first in the series, they're doing a second year of DLC. So, yeah, it's they got time to change their mind. But hopefully, this is not working out as a. They figure that because Valhalla is, going to be able to produce the additional money for them, because we can keep selling the DLC. They think that, then that means that we can just go to this solution in general for the franchise. It's like, it's not always how that works. Yeah, so it'll just be a week. We'll see what happens. And it was interesting to read some of the thing that Ubisoft put out about it, because it was talking about basically because of the whole, we've learned how to do work from home effectively, we're going to take advantage of the lessons we learned for doing that to enable the multi-studio stuff. Which that is a concept that is interesting to consider for the future of game development. If you are going to see, Ubisoft owns multiple studios, so being able to have those studios work together more easily. EA, Activision, 2K, they all own their own studios. Devolver doesn't. Just thinking of another developer. Modus technically does. Well, at least they have their own capacity to develop. But they already work with others. Crap, what is it? There is a game. There's a Modus game where they are working with another developer. I'm just trying to remember what it is. And I might be saying that incorrectly, calling it a Modus game. It might be the other developer's game, but Modus is working with. But it's like collaboration like that. Maybe we'll see an increase in that as a result of the pandemic and the work from home stuff. Don't know, but it is an interesting thing. Because you could end up with too many cooks in the kitchen issues, but at the same time, sometimes it is you want to have the additional talent working on. That benefit will be greater. And I mean, the whole too many cooks in the kitchen basically comes down to management and leadership. I mean, if you have a good head chef, you can have as many cooks as you want. You're not going to have a problem. But you don't always have good head chefs, to continue with that analogy. Which I've talked about stuff like that. Was it even last week? Don't remember, but the whole, you do sometimes... Yeah, because I was talking about Windows 11 and the TPM requirement stuff. That sometimes you do have somebody making the decisions that other people are not comfortable challenging, or the decision, or the person making the decision is able to just override any other opinion, and it's like that is always dangerous. Because then it's yes, game developers should be developing the games that they want to play, that they enjoy, at least for those who play games, because there are some that highly gifted, but at the same time they don't necessarily play games, they just love the coding and such, or they're artists and they love the art, they don't really care about playing the game. Nothing wrong with that. But it is still that idea of going to what doing the work to what you want is generally a good thing, I would say. And it's like when I write a story, I write the story that I want. I'm writing the story that somebody else wants. I mean, it also helps I don't get paid, so it's not like, I have a commitment to anyone else either. Okay, maybe. It's dangerous. What'd I do here? Okay. Whoop. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna do it this way. So I think we'll survive. Yeah, cool. Alright. So the last bit of news that I have there is...
Got the car.
Of course I will.
It,
If you have to, leave
it is an interesting one. Because when first seeing the news, I think it's safe to say was overblown. That doesn't mean that there isn't an issue, was not an issue, or that trying to solve the issue is not inappropriate. But I do suspect that it was an overreaction, and that it basically doesn't matter the people that made the initial mistake. It doesn't matter now.
Let's get on with
What?
our sacred mission.
The reaction is still going to happen. So I didn't even realize this, that Audacity, that free and open source audio editor, which I in fact use, though I haven't updated for quite a while. I use it for the auto ducking feature, where it will, how I use it here, it will reduce the volume, the amplitude of the game audio while I'm talking, so that my microphone is loud. Very useful feature. It'd be awesome if FFmpeg had that, because then I could just have everything in FFmpeg. But for now, though, it's the reason I still use Audacity. And Audacity is useful for other reasons too. Don't get me wrong. That is what I use it for. And it was apparently purchased. Now, that may seem weird, the idea of an open source project being purchased, but it's not that uncommon. I would say. I mean, some stuff, yes, it's not. You wouldn't see certain open source projects being purchased; they're too distributed. But there are some where it's like, no, that's technically owned. There is a single owner to that, but they have it be open source so that many can contribute. Well, apparently, the reaction was to an update to the privacy policy for Audacity that now allows them to collect, this owner to collect certain information, certain telemetry. Which, for a lot of people, is a nope. Never will allow something that is collecting telemetry on their system. But it also, some elements of the privacy policy were poorly written, is how the company is trying to spin it. That it was confusing because it basically had the etc. kind of clause in it, which is problematic. And by that I mean, what I mean by the it's an etc. clause is, it's an open-ended kind of, and we can also collect it for this reason, to do these things with it, and we're just not being specific because we don't know all the ways that we might end up using it. Yeah, that is kind of a red flag for a lot of people. That's fair. The company said that they are going to change their privacy policy to be more clear, so that might completely address the issues. But also, my where's the guy who was driving? I didn't, and also apparently I don't have this. There we go. But the result of this, it looks like, will be that Audacity, well, it's technically already been forked, but that you're going to see the fork become potentially the new dominant form. It's hard to say exactly what'll happen. Yeah, I'm just gonna take this and come back. Well, oh wait, this is probably the entrance right here. But here's some more of the backstory too. Apparently the reason for the telemetry is they want to add in support for it phoning home to check for updates, but also to automatically send in error reports. Which, sending in error reports would also then want to include your OS, your CPU, it's like some system some system information like that, so they can diagnose things. And apparently, oh man, where was it that I saw that? Somewhere I saw it when talking about it, basically said that, this is a person who made a fork of it and had pulled out the code for the telemetry stuff. Apparently, the guy had made the comment, it may have been at the register, made the comment that, yeah, it looks like the way this code was all designed and implemented was so that it could be easily disabled. Which is just kind of funny, because it is like, yeah, it looks like the company just made a mistake in how they were portraying it, how they were trying to capture it in the privacy policy, and that's what's... And that triggered this reaction. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. But it is also... Man, Audacity could really use some work. And it's like, being owned, because that means that you can have professional developers, you know, paid programmers on it. That can be, you know, a good thing for projects. Because, man, there are definitely some things I could be better about.
This smartphone.
Like, I would be happy with some improved macro kind of stuff, or just being able to run a macro from a command line. Not in there. There's apparently a way to pipe stuff in, but I'm unsure if I could get that working for what I want. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes. But it is, and also for anyone who's like, oh my god, Audacity, wait, is collecting my data? It's like, okay, it depends on the version that you have, and even then, it might be no versions. It sounded like, for one of the things being that one of the things that I read did sound like that there is actually no version of Audacity that is collecting the telemetry yet. Privacy policy which changed, but there's no actual released version of Audacity that's doing it. But you can still, you know, find older versions if you are that concerned. Personally, I never updated from 3.2.3. No, sorry, 2.3.2. Those around. But it sounded like even version 3.0.2? Is that the latest? It sounds like even that doesn't yet have the telemetry stuff in there. Yeah. But I mean, hey, you gotta be careful with first impressions. I guess would be a way to put it. You know, when making a change, you need to be careful to make sure that it's what you want it to be, you mean it to be. Because if somebody misinterprets it, you can really hurt your situation a lot. And the open source community as a whole, I can believe that the majority of it isn't, you know, will basically give the time to figure out what's going on. But there's also plenty of people in it that are strict adherents to certain principles that a violation of it, or a perceived violation of it, they will react to. Ooh. But also, I don't remember thinking about it before, or thinking about it previously, but we kind of saw some... I don't remember exactly what it was that triggered it. It wasn't telemetry stuff, but when OpenOffice became property of Oracle, and LibreOffice was formed. Like, I don't even know if the concerns that was it the Document Foundation at the time? Or was something else? I don't remember. But I don't remember if, or rather, I don't know if any of the concerns that they had with Oracle owning OpenOffice actually came to be. Because, yeah, it's possible that the concerns that led to LibreOffice being made were never realized. So it's not that one should abandon LibreOffice, go back to OpenOffice or whatever, but it is possible that it did prove an overreaction, but in long run. Yeah, I want to say it was something along the lines of Java had been the owner administrator for OpenOffice. But when Oracle purchased Java, therefore would have OpenOffice, there was concern that of how Oracle would develop it and like change licensing and stuff on that. Something like that. And so it was like, okay, we're gonna fork it to LibreOffice.
Shooter!
Alright. So I shouldn't have to worry about sniping.
Do something!
Just trying to think, what else can I talk about? It's one of the things I have notes for. Wrote up the review for the JWK Unlubed Silent Linear. The previous Switch review were the regular linears, not the silent linear. And because, you know, going to be going, I mean, it's timing stuff. I'm back to using the 1UP keyboards build for the moment, with the Boba U4 switches, which are my favorite switch. Not necessarily perfect for gaming because of how strongly tactile they are, but I love them. I mean, they're still good for game, but they're just so, oh, I love it. It's so, and they're still, they are so quiet. But my plan going forward, I need to do that from here, don't I? Yeah, I think I do. Oh. Yeah, let's do that. I just remember the way I can have it mark where to find certain construction projects is from here, so I do want to do that. And I'm getting a drink of water. Oh, so much better. But yeah, so my plan for the next stuff will be to
I don't like trading with G, but
this
we need the stuff.
where the one there. Where are they at? Ah, one over there. There we go. Going forward, because I'm leaving and I'm going to be bringing this keyboard with me instead of the NK65 with the silent. When I get back, I'll put in the non-silent linears so I get used to them again. Probably for maybe a week. It depends. I will then open them up to lubricate them, which is going to be a tedious process, but likely, I think it will be worth doing. It's, and I've explained this before, I'm trying to go by a reasonable extremes process for the keyboard stuff, where it's like, if it is, you know, I will go to the extreme, but only, you know, to a reasonable extent. So like, no Franken switches. That seems such overkill. I understand why one does it. I just personally don't want to do that. And hand wired are really the two main things that I don't want to do. Where it's like, those would be unreasonable extremes. Oh, there. So yeah, and once I do that, then I will return to the silence to basically do the same thing. It's spend some time with them and then lubricate them, which... And I do have this in the review, and I do realize that, you know, you may need to go back. A lot of the feel is similar to the non-silent linears, and I think I leaned on that a bit more than I meant to when I wrote the review, but whatever. One thing that is interesting about the silent linears is that there were noises that they made. Like, I'm pretty sure I was noticing, like, spring ping in there. Hopefully it wasn't leaf ping, because that's just going to be more of a pain to deal with, I fear. I can try to explain those later, but that's...
The roadkill into the fray!
That's something that I wasn't noticing with the non-silent. So it might be that the dampeners actually, by making it such a silent switch, allowed those other noises to stand out. That may have still been there with the non-silent. It's just the normal noise of just pressing the key is what was drowning that out. But yeah, so spring ping and leaf ping, you know, it's both just ping noise coming from the metal pieces hitting each other, or I guess in the case of the spring, it would be against itself. Yeah, I don't really like the idea of having to lubricate the leaves. Just, I mean, yeah, I guess where... They touch in a different spot than the legs do, and in theory, because of the linear, I could lubricate the legs without issue. I don't know, we'll see when the time comes, but the process of lubricating may itself be an article.
Closer to gas.
Haven't necessarily committed to that, but it'll probably happen.
Pink Eye, an ancient lady of war and racing, touched by the angel. Her machines are truly gifted.
I know I'm saying a lot. I'm just trying to think if I got anything else I can really say. I did get a new kit the other day for a macro pad that I week and a half, 2 weeks will have built. I don't know if I will want to do a write-up on that or not. It depends. I do need to check on something, because it's possible that I got it as part of a group buy, which means, you know, limited availability. That's how group buys work, where it's not during a certain period of time you are able to put in an order, and then enough parts will be ordered and all that. Although this was limited run, there's also infinite group buys. Infinite group buys is like for a week, anyone can place an order, and that many orders will then be placed to manufacturers so that all the parts are purchased and such. This was a limited one. So it was actually 500 of a black kit, which is what I got. 500 of a white kit. This one?
No, not now.
Okay, it's full. I didn't remember what the key was. But because of certain issues that arose for the guy doing the group buy, he apparently wants to transition to doing in-stock sales, which would alleviate a lot of issues for him, like the microcontroller that it comes with. Is the Pro Micro, and apparently that went from being $3.50 to $8, and he was already selling the kit at near cost, a slim margin, and it's like that, and also increased his shipping costs, just really took a lot from it. Really ate into that profit margin to the point that they were basically saying, yeah, the work that they had to do like putting together the kits and all that, worked out to be nothing. But they weren't making any money from that. That's what I mean. But if he does transition to an in-stock, then I could do an article on it, because I'm just a little leery of the idea, a little wary of the idea of doing articles on something that is too limited. Yeah. It depends. But hey, I got plenty of time to think about it. And for anyone wondering, it's the duck board, if you try looking that up. It's a number pad +1 design, although you can't actually have it with, that, the way I'm gonna have it set up will be, as 1U. A normal number pad has, 3 2U keys, the enter, the plus, and the 0. I will be running it as, just straight all of them are 1U keys, which is going to be a little tricky because I don't... There's one keycap I won't have to be able to cover that. Wait, was it 2? I think it's only 1. I don't remember now. But, it's those, and then plus another key that's to the lower left, which I like, because that way, it's like I could have number pad layout, and then an additional key for like activating a review layer, which I'm using right now in the Super 16 build that I did. It also has a rotary encoder on it, and a OLED screen, because they're not just for laptop displays, or apparently the new Switch. So yeah, it'll be a fun build, and it was like $25 plus shipping. Have to literally put it all together myself. Well, my dad will be helping, but it still should be a pretty fun project. And I might also, I haven't decided yet, it'll depend on pricing and such. The guy also has a design for, he hasn't started selling them yet, but they will apparently also be in a in-stock situation. For a 40% split. So basically, if you look at a normal ANSI board, the 60%, which is what I'm using now with the 1/60 build, it is that main portion where you've got the alphas, the number row, enter, shift, and all that stuff. 40% you lose the number row, so you also then need to move keys like backspace and escape into other rows. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. That would be, kind of. I'm not sure if I'd want to do that to a split, with a split. 40% split that might be too compact for me, but it's like, it depends on the pricing. If the pricing's good, then I might be like, you know what, yeah, I can do that, because I do think that it's fair to do such things as experimenting with different layouts, and that's certainly a different layout. And he's also working on an Alice layout, which I don't know. An Alice layout is, in some ways, it's like a split, it seems. I think that's a fair way to describe it. Except it's not physically split. It's just the keys themselves are in mainly two groups. There we go. I'm focused on this. Yeah, and I don't know about an Alice, just because with how I know I don't position my hands symmetrically. I don't know if a Alice would be an Alice layout would be appropriate for me, because it's still in a single large piece, like a normal keyboard. Whereas a split, my asymmetric grip wouldn't, hand position wouldn't be a problem, because the pieces can be asymmetrically placed. And I do know one place that I could get a 60% split. And it is on my list, my like mental list of, I'd like to try that keyboard. It is, I do see jokes talking about custom keyboards, that it is a way to empty your wallet and bank account and go into debt. But it's, I mean, I can definitely see how that works, how that ends up happening, because some of the stuff is really expensive. But it's also just, you want to try these different things.
Oh, here it comes! A mighty duster!
Huh. So I just got a text. It's very unimportant, but it's still like, what's that? Nice. That was fun. Don't see any scrap from it, though. Oh well. But yeah, I'm thinking my next keyboard build that I'd like to try doing will be either like doing a split, maybe that 140%, maybe trying to go to that 60%, it depends, or a plane. I don't remember if we talked about that before. It's an ortholinear 40% board, so it is quite small. And it's ortholinear, so currently you have, the columns are staggered on most keyboards. Imagine them being, perfectly straight up and down. That's ortholinear, as the name suggests, and it's a different thing. But the plank is also, it's a 40%, so it lets the number row, making it even more different. There is a preonic, which also has the number row on it, but I kind of feel like if I'm gonna get one of these, for one thing, the plank is technically cheaper. It's like, yeah, whatever. That's not the big thing that. I mean, it's like, yes, I don't really have the money to spend, but it's like, if I'm gonna spend it, it's, whatever. But I'd say, if it's like a 60% ortho, then I've got a 60% that I'm using right now.
What was morbid then would be benevolent now.
And I do need to go back to build. There we go. And I think, yeah, this one's done.
This could work as cover.
I'm just gonna fast travel back.
We still starve and thirst. We got us some hope, thanks to
Okay.
you.
I do think, though, that whatever the next build I do is... Wait, what? Wait. I thought that that one was... There's one of them that collects the scrap that falls on the ground. Is that not it?
You'll know what you've done.
That's Maggot Farm. That's to heal me when I come back. That's just investment.
Legend is strong.
You... Over here. Please help.
I'm not doing story stuff. Sorry. Oh, this is it. Well, it's only one day. So... There. Okay. Is there a... It's not that close. Yeah, I screwed that up. I
Please.
misremembered which one to work on.
Your deeds, your wars.
Wait, I just realized I was supposed to give water. Why didn't I give me water? Anyway.
No death. No trust from me.
Oh yeah, what I was saying. I'll probably put the purple pandas in whatever it is I build next.
Does the wasteland hold for us now?
Because, I mean, I do prefer, come on, brain, turn over. Wow, how am I do prefer tactiles. And that's a nice tactiles. They're not as tactile as the BW4s, but they are still very... I was like, I stand by what I said in the review. They're not as tactile, but that does make them a little bit more comfortable for gaming than the BW4s. Because W4s, it's enough force to overcome the tactile bump that even I notice it, and so I can't, like, spam click as comfortably. Something like this, though, with the driving, it's... No, it's fine. Perfect. There's nothing wrong there. But, at times when you need to spam click, it's like, yeah, it would be nice to have, you know, slightly lighter tactile, and Purple Pandas, for me, fit that perfectly. Even though, with a plank, I probably wouldn't want to use that for gaming. Just the whole lack of a number row thing.
Magnum opus to pull it down.
There we go. Yeah, Purple Pandas, though, they're definitely my number 2, the switches I got.
Of terror behind.
And it'll be interesting. I could believe that the silent linears I was just using could surpass them, but I do need to see how they are lubricated. Like, you know, getting rid of some of the extra noise. Well, I shouldn't say extra noise, some of the revealed noise, I think, would be probably the more appropriate way to describe it. Yeah, need to see if I can get rid of that stuff with lubricating. If I can, then they probably could beat the Purple Pan. They wouldn't beat the W4s. No, my preference for tactile is that strong. But it could mean that I would have the silent linears in the NK65 long term. Alright, there we go. Once we're back there and build that, I'll check on the time. I'm hoping it's not been enough that I can, like, do one. Oh, man, no, it has been. At 50 minutes. I was hoping to, like, go and do this. That'll take too long. Alright.
You... Over here. Please help me.
I will. I promise I will help you. It's just other things first. Alright. Oh, that's gonna be so nice. That's always my favorite
You...
project in these places, because then it's say don't need to get out of the car. Or at least I need to get out of Fall Guys. Alright. I actually don't know if there's anything that I can. Oh. I think everything is locked behind one thing or another. Or is maxed out of it. Yeah. And I believe the same is true. Max, I'm almost there with that. I can't do this though.
Steve, he's that driver.
That needs 15. How much do I have? $1,200. I'm actually not that far off. Alright, I will allow... I will do that. I will allow myself to do that, even though it's like, this is already plenty long. But let's just go and take care of some of those points that I got built up.
Spread your wings, pretty lady!
Oh yeah, I guess since I did mention it, I haven't looked too closely because I don't follow the console news at all, really. Yeah, apparently Nintendo has announced a new version of the Switch that will feature an OLED screen. But one thing that I've seen about it that is curious is apparently it's not going to feature any other upgrade tube. So it's not like it's going to have a better
I'll keep an eye out,
SoC in
Angel.
there. Because it is using the, Tegra 1.0 SoC, which it's like, man, NVIDIA got one hell of a deal out of that. Not even second generation Tegra. First generation Tegra is what they managed to sell Nintendo for the Switch. Alright, I'm getting a drink of water.
There you are. Lungs still heaving, heart still beating. Yet you refuse to live. Perhaps you've forgotten who you are.
I know who I am.
If you knew, why would you wander like this?
I know where I'm going.
Tell me again that you're going to the Plains of Silence.
That's my destination. I'm gonna cross the Plains of Silence.
God. Actually, I think, yeah. And oh man, that always annoys me. It's like you have to actually use all of them. Which also means then that I can now unlock a thing or two, I think. Because wasn't there stuff that just required me to get into Blessed Wanderer? Oh, yeah. Get up. Yeah, I may have only been here. I have gotten a bit too used to the having the dedicated keys on the NK65. Although here let's do this because I'll be wrapping it up. I'm trying to remember who he is. I don't think we've encountered him yet and had the opportunity to kill him yet. But he is one of Squirrel's henchmen, so we do get to kill him eventually. Alright, so that will be wrapping it up, but I will check on the name of that My Friend Pedro game that's coming to Android and iOS. I guess technically also Windows 11? Whenever that comes out. Ripe for Revenge. My Friend Pedro, Ripe for Revenge. That's what's coming. In August. Yeah, August 5th. But as I said, it's a mobile game, Android and iOS, so I don't cover that stuff. Sorry, but that's, I don't cover mobile, I don't cover console, unless it's like really big things. Like I do remember with GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, I did cover that console stuff because it was also, especially after GTA 5, it did seem very reasonable to expect a PC release to follow. Also, some of the, especially the Xbox family stuff, because some of that stuff will make its way into DirectX. So that's also kind of fair game, but just the general games like that, or I think I actually have some other console stuff that I got. Pile Up Box by Box, 3D platformer from Handy Games. That's for console. I had one that I saw today. Neighbors Back from Hell coming to mobile. And I don't cover mobile. It's stuff like that. Where it's like it's console, so I don't cover. Sorry if you console focus. It's just it's a PC enthusiast site, Overclockers Club. So yeah. All right. That's it then. I shall see you next time. Yeah. That's all. Just see you next time. Have a great weekend and all that.